Hi, welcome to Professional Certifications channel. Let's break down CISSP exam preparation, one topic a day for focused and effective learning. Today's topic is confidentiality.
Definition. Confidentiality is one of the three core principles of the CIA triad: confidentiality, integrity, and availability in information security. It ensures that sensitive information is accessible only to authorized individuals and prevents unauthorized disclosure or access. The primary goal of confidentiality is to protect personal, financial, proprietary, or classified information from being exposed to unauthorized users.
Key concepts.
1. Access control. Confidentiality is closely tied to access control mechanisms that limit who can access certain information. By implementing appropriate access controls, organizations ensure that only authorized individuals or systems have the necessary permissions to view, modify, or share sensitive information. Access control models like role-based access control, RBAC, mandatory access control, MAC, and discretionary access control, DAC, are commonly used to enforce confidentiality policies.
2. Encryption. Encryption is a key technique for ensuring confidentiality. Encryption algorithms convert plaintext, readable data, into ciphertext, unreadable data, to prevent unauthorized access. Only those with the correct decryption key can convert the ciphertext back into readable plaintext. Two types of encryption are commonly used. Symmetric encryption uses a single key for both encryption and decryption, for example, AES. Asymmetric encryption uses a pair of keys, one public and one private, where the public key encrypts data, and the private key decrypts it, for example, RSA. Encryption is often applied to data at rest, stored data, and data in transit, data being sent over networks, to maintain confidentiality.
3. Data classification. Confidentiality is enforced through proper data classification. Organizations classify data based on its sensitivity and the level of protection it requires. Common classification levels include: public, information that can be shared freely; internal/private, information intended only for internal use; confidential, sensitive information that should only be accessible to certain personnel, for example, employee records; top secret, highly sensitive information that requires the highest level of security, for example, military or government data. By classifying data, organizations can implement appropriate security measures based on the sensitivity of the information.
4. Access controls and need-to-know principle. Need to know. Access to confidential information should only be granted to those who require it to perform their job. This principle helps limit exposure to sensitive data and minimizes the risk of a breach. Least privilege. Users should only have the minimum level of access necessary to perform their duties. Limiting access reduces the potential for accidental or intentional exposure of confidential information.
5. Data masking and anonymization. Data masking, a technique used to hide sensitive information by replacing it with fictitious data or characters. For example, credit card numbers may be partially masked when displayed, for example, 1234 XXXX XXXX 5678. Data anonymization involves altering or removing personal identifiers from data to ensure that individuals cannot be identified from the information. This is especially important for protecting confidentiality in datasets used for research or analytics. 6.
Confidentiality threats. Social engineering. Attackers may manipulate individuals to disclose confidential information, for example, phishing attacks. Insider threats. Employees or trusted users with access to sensitive data may misuse or leak confidential information. Eavesdropping and sniffing. Attackers can intercept data being transmitted over unsecured networks, compromising confidentiality. Malware. Malicious software can be used to steal confidential information by gaining unauthorized access to systems or networks. Man-in-the-middle, MITM, attacks. Attackers intercept and potentially alter communications between two parties, potentially exposing confidential data.
7. Confidentiality controls. Data encryption, encrypting sensitive data to prevent unauthorized access. Strong passwords, ensuring that access to systems and files requires strong, unique passwords or passphrase. Multi-factor authentication, MFA, adding an extra layer of security to access control, beyond just a password. Access logs and monitoring, keeping detailed records of who accesses confidential information, allowing for auditing and tracking of potential misuse. Data loss prevention, DLP solutions monitor and control data transfer to prevent unauthorized sharing or leaks of confidential information.
8. Legal and regulatory requirements. Various laws and regulations require organizations to maintain confidentiality for certain types of data. HIPAA, Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, requires healthcare organizations to protect the confidentiality of patient health information, PHI. GDPR, General Data Protection Regulation, enforces strict rules on the confidentiality and protection of personal data for individuals in the EU. PCI DSS, Payment Card Industry Data Security Standard, mandates confidentiality for payment card data to protect against theft and fraud.
Importance in the CISSP exam. Confidentiality is a central theme in several CISSP domains, including security and risk management, security engineering, and identity and access management. CISSP aspirants must understand how to implement confidentiality controls, respond to confidentiality breaches, and address confidentiality in relation to data classification, encryption, and access control models. Questions often explore confidentiality threats, mitigation techniques, and regulatory requirements.
Real-world example. In a financial institution, employee access to client financial data is restricted based on the need-to-know principle. Only personnel directly involved in managing client accounts can access account information. Additionally, all sensitive financial data is encrypted at rest and in transit, ensuring that even if unauthorized individuals gain access, the data remains unreadable without the decryption key.